Okay, so it is May 22nd, 2025, and Bitcoin is making a new high. Things are going crazy. So let's talk about it. This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. I'm not a financial advisor, so do not construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. And yes, I would be remiss if I did not alert my audience that Bitcoin today is making a new all-time high. Okay, so we'll start by taking a look at the price action today as I'm making this recording, and then we'll talk a little bit about why it's hitting an all-time high and what you could be expecting it to do next. So let's start by taking a look at what it is doing at the moment. Okay, so as I'm recording this, Bitcoin is sitting at $111,000 per coin. Okay, so this has been the price action over the last 24 hours. And over that time frame, it is up 2.9%, almost 3% in the last 24 hours. But let's take a little longer term view. Let's look at the 1 year chart. Okay, so year over year, Bitcoin is up 58%. But what I want to zero in on here is what happened here during this little dip. So we can see that a double top was put in there at around the 108,000 level. But then we had that big market sell-off. Remember the big scare over, Trump's tariffs, and the whole market was selling off and going crazy. Well, this is what I want you to pay particular attention to. So if you're a veteran to my channel, you probably heard me talk a little bit about some of the tips that I give I used to be a trading instructor, right? And one of the edisms that came out of that course was what I call the theory of relativity relating to stocks. Now, remember, this principle applies to anything that you trade, whether it's stocks, bonds, or cryptos. Okay, the principle is the same. And that theory states that whenever a stock, or in this case Bitcoin, does something other than what it should be doing, it makes that move even more significant. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say that a stock comes out with really good earnings report, and the stock should be going up, right? You would think, okay, that's good news. It should be going up, but it goes down. Okay, that tells you a lot more than if the stock had gone up. Because in the end, the only thing that really matters in anything that you're trading is buying pressure. If there are more buyers and sellers, it goes up. More sellers and buyers, it goes down, period. So if a piece of news comes out that's good or bad, but the stock trades in the opposite direction, that tells you that the previous move is probably already in. Now, again, I use the term stock a lot because that's my default. That I was an equities trader, but this principle applies across the board, right? So a stock has good news, but it goes down. Okay, that tells you a number of things. Well, maybe the stock ran up ahead of the news, and now it's a classic, selling the news event. Or maybe there's an underlying piece of news that's not in the headline. Remember, it's never about the news. It's about the reaction to the news. Okay, so how does this relate to Bitcoin? All right, so during this massive market sell-off here that we had last month, Bitcoin did not sell off that much. Now remember, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. In fact, it's the only cryptocurrency. That's a topic for another video. But Bitcoin did not sell off that much. But because it's a cryptocurrency, you would think, no, cryptocurrencies reside on the extreme end of the risk spectrum, right? So cryptos get hurt first, and they get hurt the hardest in the event of market chaos and market declines. Now, the other side of the coin is cryptos are much more sensitive on the upside. So cryptos as an asset class are a more volatile class. Now, Bitcoin, inside of the crypto sphere, Bitcoin would sit on the conservative end of that spectrum, right? And the next tier down would be coins like XRP and XCN, and then you got the altcoins that don't have a whole lot going for them. But Bitcoin is still a cryptocurrency, so it is still as asset class, in aggregate are concerned, Bitcoin is on the extreme risk end of that spectrum. But during this market sell-off that we just had, Bitcoin did not go down that much. That tells you there's loyalty in aggregate by the street, right? There's loyalty to Bitcoin. People used that dip to acquire more Bitcoin. People did not head for the exits. Now, you always judge the health of whatever you're trading, whether it's a stock or crypto, by the quality of their pullbacks. Now, Bitcoin as we all know, has had an insane performance over the past several years. So people have an excuse. They have a reason for taking profits. So in times of uncertainty or in times of chaos, you would expect that Bitcoin would see some profit taking. Well, there wasn't that much profit taking during that sell-off. So that's a very healthy sign for Bitcoin. Bitcoin wants to go up. Now, I'm a trader. That's my that's my default method. I know I love to trade. And there are not many things that I would tell you to buy and hold. Okay, gold, yes, buy it and hold it. Silver, buy it and hold it. And Bitcoin, in my opinion, this is one you should just buy and hold. Now, if you are an aggressive person, if you want to jump in and out, you will have your opportunities. But for most people, you're better off just buying it and holding it. Now, Bitcoin is going to see $1 million at some point. It is going to see $1 million. I don't know whether I'll see it in my lifetime, but my kids will definitely see it in their lifetimes. So if you don't have any kind of exposure to Bitcoin, this is not financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor anymore, right? I'm not a financial advisor. It's just friendly advice. This is just life advice. This is just friend to friend. If you don't have any kind of exposure to Bitcoin, you are missing out. You are I don't want to use crazy. That's too strong of a word. You should have some exposure, even if it's just $100. I mean, you should have some exposure to Bitcoin just so that you're in the game, so that so you're aware of what's going on out there. So let's take another look at the chart, and then I want to tell you why it's going up and what I expect Bitcoin to do in the near future. Okay, so we're back at the 1-year chart on Bitcoin. Again, we have that double top. Okay, so that double top was a very important overhead resistance level, and it took it up pretty handily. Now, normally what would happen is it would approach that resistance level and then pause and consolidate or sell off before it made a big push. But it's not doing that. It is punching straight through. So what you're getting at the moment now, you're getting a textbook FOMO move in Bitcoin. Listen, institutions are grabbing Bitcoin. Now, I've done lots of videos before talking about the fundamentals behind Bitcoin and why you should own it and why the future on Bitcoin looks really bright. So I'm not going to replow old ground because I know about you YouTube audience guys. You guys do not like to hang out very long. I'm lucky if you guys are on for 30 seconds on a video. So let's get right to it. So we are in a little FOMO period here in Bitcoin. I don't know how far this current push will go, but I think we have a really good shot of seeing 120 to 140 on this current move. But I wouldn't be surprised if it pauses and rests a little bit, because that's just what things do after having a big move. So institutions did not sell very much during that sell-off in the last month. I promise you, they didn't do it. If anything, they added to it. And we have a lot of sovereign wealth funds out there now starting to acquire Bitcoin because they don't want to be left behind. Now, if you're a veteran to my channel, you know that the dollar is in trouble. At some point, the U.S. currency, in fact, all fiat currencies are going to be worthless. They're going to be out of business. There are countries right now that are making a push to move away from physical currencies. And they want to lure us all into their own little sovereign CBD things that they have going on. Don't buy those. Resist that move as much as possible. But Bitcoin is an actual cryptocurrency that you can use as an alternative to cash. I mean, you tell me. Inflation is not going away. Inflation is always going to be here because of the corruption by our governments. Our currencies are Ponzi schemes. They are pieces of paper that are worth nothing. They're not backed by anything. If you keep your money in cash, whether it's sitting in your bank account or sitting in your desk drawer, it is losing you money. It's a guaranteed loss on your money. More and more people are waking up. More and more people are getting sick and tired of the way their governments are treating them and the way their freedoms are being taken away from them. And they're starting to seek ways of securing their own personal sovereignty to whatever degree they can. And Bitcoin is going to be a very large part of that going forward. So if you're a freedom-loving person, if you don't own Bitcoin, I don't know what the hell to tell you. Bitcoin, gold, silver, these are the things you want to own if you want to protect your own personal sovereignty. Two final things I want to say on this, okay? If you buy Bitcoin or any other kind of crypto, do not hold it in an exchange, at least not in a significant amount, right? If you have a large amount of your assets in crypto, don't keep it inside of an exchange because you don't really own it. If it's put it on a hard wallet or something like an Exodus. Get it out of your exchanges. The second point I would make is that if you don't want to be bothered timing these things, you should be looking into EasyBot, which I've been doing videos on for you guys. I interviewed the president, CEO, founder of EasyBot. I'll put a thumbnail at the end of this video so you can watch that. And I'll have my sign up link for EasyBot in the description below. That's automated trading. So if you want to take advantage of the moves of Bitcoin, but you don't have the time or you don't know how to do it, just get EasyBot and set up your automated trading with EasyBot and just let them do it. I know one gentleman on my team who he uses EasyBot as kind of a Bitcoin acquisition program. Okay, he says I just set up the bot for Bitcoin and it'll grow. So instead of just buying one lump sum of Bitcoin and holding on to it forever, he's growing his number of Bitcoin by taking advantage of moves up and moves down and move downs. That's it for today. Please like and subscribe. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.